A warning to all about to listen to this podcast. The following audio may contain spoilers and inappropriate language, but most importantly, this podcast will definitely contain some bad opinions. You have been warned, but for now, let's get on with the show. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Anime Abroad podcast, the place to be for all the stuff that I mention all the time. I can't be bothered doing a proper intro this time. Joining me on the show this week, I have Valk.
Hello.
I picked a really inappropriate time to intro you there. And fuck all else, because everybody's in bed or travelling or doing something. So it's just us.
It's also 6:30 a.m. in the Americas.
And it's 10 to 1 in the UK, and I've been up since like 3 in the morning. So, going strong, but prime optimal conditions for a podcast, I must say. So, what's this podcast all about then? This podcast is about the final, well, not the final, but some of the final summer 2014 reviews we've got left. Ravi won't be around to record for about a month, he told me, or a few weeks, he said. So I'll say he's never coming back. So I'll cover Ao Harirad because my opinion's the only one you should listen to on this matter. On top of that, we've got a collective review of Zankyou no Terror, and on top of that, we've got a review for Bakumatsu Rock. And should we run short of time, I've got a review that's relevant to summer last year, I think. Was it summer last year? I don't know. Point is, I've got a review of The Devil is a Part-Timer to do should we run short of time. I had something else to say then, but I forgot. Yeah, Iru and Tim, sorry, Raverin, we've got to call him now. I keep forgetting he's got a name. He's got a new name now. I keep forgetting we can call him that now. So Raverin and his missus, whose name I don't know. Her name's Cassie, but I don't know what her online name is. They're going to be on a podcast with, I think, me or somebody else. They've got reviews for Persona 4 Golden, Sword Art Online 2, Akame ga Kill. Wait, no, did we cover Akame ga Kill?
It's not done yet, I don't think. He did talk about it, but...
Well, at the 12 episode mark, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we've got all those shows coming up for you. But for today, we've got shows I've just mentioned. What should we get started on? What do you reckon?
Let's not do Zankyou no Terror first.
Okay, we'll leave that till the end then. Bitter disappointment for everybody.
No,
all around.
I just to talk about it, because apparently I'm taking the lead on that, and that's...
I would have written, type more notes up. But
no,
then you're
okay
like, no,
it.
you're like,
I did really
no,
like it.
Archer, I've got this covered, man. I've got this covered. I'll do a synopsis. I'll do everything. And I'm like, okay, I'll just write notes down and say it's shit at the end and then let it be done with
my
that.
synopsis in my notes is a little bulletin that says summarize the plot. So,
I'll take a stab at trying to cover Ao Harirad, I suppose, then.
So I heard Ravi liked it.
Ravi did like it, but then again, he also likes things like putting dildos up his arse and filling in full time for glory holes and whatnot. So, the best insults I could come up with on my brain that's running a half function right now. Point is, his opinions on the show. His opinions on the show basically are like, I've never seen this done in anime before, therefore it's good, but I don't buy it. But for a start, it has been done. What we were talking about in that aspect was, there's a point in the show where, well, there's not a point in the show. The whole romance thing behind the show is that there's reasons why I want to be with you, and there's reasons why I shouldn't be with you, and the reasons why I shouldn't be with you outweigh the ones why I should be with you. Therefore, I shouldn't be with you, but I'm going to try and be with you anyway. That's been done before in anime, and I think, trying to think, F A Tale of Memories, for example, has a storyline like that, where there's clear-cut reasons why these two people shouldn't be together, but they try and make it happen. They try and make it work anyway. But I'll probably jump into that during my review.
Okay.
Anyway, Ao Harirad is, or Blue Spring Rad if you prefer, is a comedy, drama, romance, high school anime produced by Production IG, directed by Ai Yoshimura, I think, and written by Tomoko Konparu. In the previous podcast, we didn't really give a synopsis for any of the shows we covered, but I felt like we should probably change that. I mean, I was really fucking hungover in the previous podcast, so I didn't put forth the effort required, so effectively review Chinese cartoons. So to that point, I really couldn't be bothered doing a synopsis for this particular show. So I stole one off Wikipedia instead.
I just pulled up a Wikipedia page for Zankyou no Terror because I was like, oh man, that info sounds like a good idea.
Alright, let's get on with it. Futaba Yoshiaka, I think that's her name, wants to reset her life. In junior high, girls ostracized Futaba because too many junior high school boys liked her. The only boy Futaba really liked was Ko Tanaka, and he moved away before she could tell him how she felt. Now in high school, Futaba is determined to be as unladylike as possible, so her new friends will not become jealous of her. While living her new life contently, she meets Ko again, but now he uses the name Ko Mabuchi and has a cold attitude. Basically, he's become an arsehole. He tells her that he used to like her back in junior high, but he feels differently now. So half the show is about Futaba trying not to fall for Ko, and the second half of the show is Futaba falling for Ko.
I bet he's got like 20 girls on his dick, doesn't he?
He's got 2.
Oh.
Because they're the only 2 females that he is allowed to get anywhere near him, and there's reasons for that as well. Actually, is that spoilers? Yeah, it is spoilers. I won't go into that. So, in my opinion, Ao Haru Ride isn't really bringing anything unique to the table story-wise, and that makes it incredibly dull. The kind of love story which combines a love triangle and a sense of forbidden love is one of many terms that I could use to describe. I'm not really sure if it is forbidden love. It's just a love story that's got complications to it anyway. Where am I in my notes? As I mentioned before, it's been done a lot in anime, and repetition is fine in anime, I guess. I get that there's hardly any original stories out there nowadays, but if you do want to do something that's been done before, try and make it your own, put your stamp of approval on it, or your own stamp of your own uniqueness. Do something that pushes the boundaries of the genre that you're in. And sadly, that isn't the case with Ao Haru Ride. It's an easy or comfortable watch for some people. It's nice and it's mellow for the most part, but that's not what I look for in a show. That kind of stuff just bores the ever-loving shit out of me. That's why I could never watch shows like Free, for example, because it might just be a nice, comfortable show, but I really want some... And Clannad as well. It's a nice, comfortable, easy watch, but some people watch that and be relaxed. I watch that and get frustrated and bored and agitated and angry and shouty.
Needs more guns.
Yeah, it needs more guns. Machetes
You know what makes
and
free
rocket
better?
launchers.
Guns.
Oh yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Imagine that, the final scene when they're all about to jump into that petal-covered pool, then some guy just throws a grenade in there, and goes, "Death charge!" and then runs away.
Oh.
So, as I mentioned, I know a part of the show that Ego really, really enjoyed on the whole was the forbidden love aspect of it, and I mean, reasons why they shouldn't be in love. I found that aspect of the show to be a load of crap, if I'm being totally honest with you. This has been done in anime before. I'm getting really repetitive here. So let's take a look at who she's in love with, for example. Like, we got Ko. I don't get why anybody would fall for this guy. He's cold, he's distant, clearly just wants to be left alone. And in my case, if it was me, I would leave him alone.
That is every fucking love story lead ever. So I go, look at this guy. He's a total asshole, but everybody likes him.
Yep. And
he's actually a really nice guy.
And do you know what? That was the nice thing, like, towards the end of the show. I say a nice thing, but, like, because that didn't happen because he was still a prick towards the end of it. He kind of had his revelation. You're like, no, but you're still the same person. Where exactly has the change happened? And in typical style, like, this kind of guy and this kind of character, just like, he's quite happy to speak his mind regardless of what someone else might think about it. And that can hurt people's feelings sometimes, and he just doesn't care. He lacks tact. He's a prick. to the point of his past, because I had a feeling this might have been brought up, but Ego's not here, so I just decided to cover it in my notes anyway. I didn't really get any feelings out of that. I was numb to his whole backstory because tragic things happen to someone in their past, and now because of that, it makes them not want to care about other people. Because, oh my god, what if it happens again? I should deprive myself of having a meaningful relationship with anybody my entire life. If I could get hurt. I took a hard line on this one. I couldn't help but think, yeah, well, so fucking what? People on this planet every day suffer loss. It's a big part of life. One of the greatest joys in life is having, relationships with other human beings, so why in the hell would you deprive yourself of that just because you had one bad experience with it? So, does he ever break free of feeling this? I'm not sure if this is spoiler territory, but I did want to mention it because it did make me particularly angry and made me laugh at the same time. Okay, spoiler warning, it might be a spoiler. It's not a huge point to make, but in the second to last episode, when Ko finally has his revelation of, I'm a fucking idiot for not having, normal feelings like a normal fucking human being would, like, he and Futaba have this really emotional chat. Well, at least I think it was supposed to be emotional, but I wasn't feeling it. Maybe I've finally gotten to the point where I can only get emotionally invested into a show if there's, like, giant robots trying to kill each other.
Oh, God.
I don't know. But anyway, so Futaba gives the speech of how he should be friends with them and, stop being a miserable bastard and to let go of the past and, let's see what the future can hold together as a big, beautiful, group of people. And it's your usual forced fucking drama speech you tend to get in shows like this, which is really ironic because the only time I cried whilst watching anime was a speech similar to that one, so... Anyway, to my point, Ko says something like on the lines of, wow, maybe I should finally open my heart up a little bit. All I needed was permission.
What?
I needed permission. I needed somebody to tell me I could live a normal life and act like a human being. I needed permission. We just went through 10 episodes of nothing just for you to have this pathetic revelation. I was really pissed off, but I couldn't help but laugh as well because I found it so fucking irritating beyond belief that this guy needed permission to act like a human being from somebody he really doesn't want to know or be around or talk to. I don't know. Another infuriating part of the show for me was everything was infuriating, but more so this stuff was the characters. It's the same with Tokyo Ghoul. I didn't find a single person in that show I liked the entire time. Nobody had a moment. Nobody made me laugh. Nobody made me feel. They were all just boring as shit. So our main female character, Futaba, is like ditzy and clumsy, but not in a cute or an endearing kind of way. It's just like you watch this person live in life and you're like, how do you even function? She's very selfish as well. I mentioned before we had this little love triangle going on. Yuri, who is the worst character to have ever existed in the face of any characters ever, is also in love with Ko. Because this one time on a field trip, she was too scared to jump over a rock, which was in a river, so Ko helped her, and now he's their hero, essentially. So I fell in love with him because he helped me cross a river.
This is some plot.
Yeah, that is some fantastic plot, isn't it? And anytime Futaba decides she wants to try and make a move on Ko or something to that effect, she would only feel remorse after the fact. It was like, after that happened, she was like, oh crap, what about Yuri, the other person who's in love with Ko, who I know is in love with Ko? Oh no, I am a really bad person. Yes, you are. You're a really bad person. And this leads to one of the most overly dramatic, apologetic speeches on the roof of a school I have ever seen in my life. And I've seen a few of those. As I've already stated before, I think Ko is a really unlikable character. And it's my favourite part of the show because I love moaning about it. Yuri, as I've stated on many occasions, is by far and away the worst character this show has to offer up. Her voice grates on my soul. I don't know who her voice actor was, but if that's her usual tone of voice, I hope she never gets a job again. I hope she starves to death. I hope nobody gives her a gig. She doesn't deserve to earn money in this industry. The writers are trying their best to make her look cute and act cute so they can draw a comparison between her and a younger Futaba. The girl who's constantly harassed by boys because of how good looking she is, and all the boys talk about it, and that gets everybody jealous, etc., etc. But overall, that combination of character design, dialect, and a voice actor just makes her incredibly annoying. She says stupid fucking things like good morning in that awful voice of hers, and she wears
she voiced
fucking...
Menma from Anohana.
Ah, so that's why I hated Menma as well.
You hated Menma?
I hated Menma.
Oh, I didn't like her at first, but by the end of it, wow.
I remember getting to that, like, the second episode, I was like, God, I'm glad you're dead. I don't care.
That's fucking funny.
So she wears this stupid pink jumper that just has punch me real hard in the face written all over it. A character I utterly despise, and I am so happy I never have to see her or hear her voice. Ever again. That's a nice relief. So to the last final part in the characters, we have two characters who are in the show that are in our main group of friends, and I really wished Ravi was here so I could ask him because I've got no idea why they were there. There's no reason. Like, we've got the black-haired girl who's in love with one of the teachers who happens to be Ko's brother. She gets flat out rejected by him in like episode 5, and then we don't hear about her or anything to do with that right up until the very last moments of the last episode. Then we've got blonde-haired guy who's done literally nothing the entire show. He is there just because he likes the black-haired girl who's never going to be with him. So why are those two characters there? What purpose did they serve? Makes my fucking brain hurt. Onto the animations and visuals. I'm not a fan of the visuals for the most part in this show. For a start, I think the character design's quite ugly. Everyone's lips are really weird, and it's not something I've seen in anime before, and I really don't like it. The body proportions seem kind of off as well. It's sort of reminded me of Code Geass, where like everybody's head's quite small, but for some reason the chest is quite big and their arms and legs are quite dangly.
That was one of the things that turned me off of Code Geass. I've seen like parts of episodes. I was like, why do the characters look so fucked up?
I know. I love Code Geass. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I do think it's one of the greatest shows that's ever happened. But I think because it was like the fourth or fifth show I'd ever seen before, I hadn't really. What's the best way to put? Developed a taste in anime. I didn't know what I did and didn't like at that point. At that point, it was just like, yay, cartoons. So I didn't really pick up on that or get angry with that. But like in hindsight, yeah, it's not great. Studio Clamp, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause for Studio Clamp.
Oh, that's what it was.
There are some visuals in the show when Futaba in particular gets really embarrassed, or when she has one of those embarrassing moments, like the face squidges up and they've got like these, like the face just kind of gets like rubbed out and they just like draw two big white circles on there with an X for a mouth. Kind of like, oh, I'm so embarrassed kind of thing, and that's annoying. I took multiple print screens of Futaba during this entire show, so I'll pop those in the video so you can go and check them out. The flashbacks in the show, of which there are way too fucking many, have this really strange filter over them. It makes the shot look foggy, which you kind of expect, but then there's this really strange kind of frame around it. I'm doing the visuals trying to explain to Valk what it's like, what a frame is. If you know what a frame is, I don't know why I'm doing this. This is a frame. This is a frame. So either side of the screen, we've got like what looks like two blobs of blue paint on either side, and it looks really ugly. And I don't know how this somehow represents a flashback. Oh, back in the year 2002 when this flashback was happening, blue blobs used to follow people around all the fucking time. I mean, all you've got to do
that's nothing to note a flashback.
Well, it's kind of like foggy and a weird frame, and that's it.
Just use a fucking filter like everyone else.
I know, it's like all you have to do for a flashback is give people echoing voices, make the scene look a little brighter than usual, and then make the frame a little hazy. That's just, all this frame stuff is just straight up not needed. Again, they might be trying to shoot for something different on the show, but production IG, you're done goofed.
I wish Ravi were here to actually defend this. You're making it sound pretty fucking bad.
Because it is bad. It's really bad. So anyway, the animation, for what I can remember, is just plain, and that's fine. As I've stated before, like the standard of animation these days is pretty high anyway, so the normal is just fine. To give the show a compliment and a genuine compliment, not as in like I like the part where it ended because I didn't have to watch it anymore. I can remember it as clear as day. It's episode 10 or 11. Ko and Futaba are lying down by the river, and the water just looked absolutely stunning. And I mentioned this to someone, I think it might have been you actually. And I said, holy shit, I actually like something about this show. And then there's suddenly realization happened, and I realized I just complimented
Daily Fate Zero reference in the episode.
And I was like, the river, it's just like, the water looks good, but it's not Fate Zero looking good water. So, to finish off that, the river and the skyline look stunning. I can't deny that. They look great. So we finally found its first good point. Let's move on to the music. I think the show had a really good soundtrack. It's a shame it appeared in the same season as Alt Noah, to be honest with you. Otherwise, that would have been animated. It would have been a soundtrack of the season.
How do you not like Zankyou no Terror more?
I like 2 tracks off off that, maybe 3 at a push. Like the rest, I don't. Anyway, unfortunately, the OST hasn't been like released yet, so at least at the time of recording, it hasn't. So I haven't had the chance to listen back to it and give you my favorite tracks and what I liked and what I didn't like. The one song I do know that has been released in full is called "I Will," and it's by an artist called Chelsea. I think if I've got that written down correctly. The official music video for it's on YouTube, and if I remember, I'm going to try and leave a link in the description below because that's a really, really nice track. Nice mellow J-rock, J-pop song, and I'm into that kind of stuff. I think it's great. As I said in the previous episode, you guys already know my favorite OP of the season belongs to Al Hariride. Seikai wa Koi ni. It's a song by Chico with Honeyworks, and it's another nice mellow J-rock song with a nice acoustic guitar in there. It's quite nice. And as a final note, the ED's pretty good as well. So, to the 3 R's, after that long-winded rant, wrap this up. The show is incredibly boring and unoriginal. If you're after a romance show, first consider not watching this completely, and then consider watching either F A Tale of Memories or Toradora, or even Dust Maiden of Amnesia instead, because all of those shows kind of deal with a theme of, again, forbidden romance or an awkward romance, something that's not meant to work out, but they try and make it happen anyway. And that's especially prevalent in F A Tale of Memories. Some of the visuals in the show are nice, but on the whole, I didn't find it too pleasing on the eye, and the soundtrack was easily the only good highlight of the show. For those reasons, I'm going to give Ao Hariride a massive 2.5 out of 10. and I feel as if I'm being generous.
I wasn't expecting that. I thought it'd get like a 4 or a 3.5.
Absolutely not. Answer the question. 2.5 is generous. Recommend it? Absolutely not. This show is for nobody. As I said, there are much more better slice of life shows, high school shows, and romance shows out there for you to go and check it out and rewatch. Hell no! I'm staying away from that shit. And that about wraps up my thoughts on Our Haru Ride.
Alright.
You see that? You see that, people? We can do reviews sometimes. See? Shit just knocked it out the park. Go ahead.
So Zanky no Terror. Oh, wait, what's that?
We're going to move on to that next? Oh, I thought you were going to go on to Bakamatsu Rock.
I could do that, actually. Then people have to listen to my Bakamatsu Rock review to actually get to the good anime. Sure. Alright. So yeah.
I don't know.
I just finished off Bakamatsu Rock today. It had been like 2 months, I think, since I watched the first 6 episodes while drunk, so I had to finish the last 6 today. So I looked up a quick review as to what had happened because I couldn't fucking remember anything, and the answer was nothing. So
I hope you explain the scoring the same way that you did to me, because that's a nice justification.
Yeah. So yeah, I got into watching it again. The plot of this show is not that important, but I'll try and explain it. Okay, so yeah, it's called Bakamatsu Rock, and it's set in the Bakamatsu era, which they actually go to kind of like the effort of setting up and telling you this, and that doesn't matter, because then they proceed to go, yeah, there's pop idols, and there's rock bands, and there's rockets, and there's guns, and
electricity.
Yeah, we didn't actually care. So yeah. Oh, the government's using the brainwashing of heaven songs to control people, and the playing of any music that's not heaven song is forbidden, and main character wants to play rock music. Wow, what a plot.
Don't let the man get me down, man.
That's pretty much the plot. It's not terrible, but
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
I haven't watched it, but I don't know. It sounds pretty bad on paper to me.
I can't remember all the shit I was telling you earlier. I just rattle all that off right now.
Well, you can go into what you thought of the plot and the story, but I think you've already just covered that.
Yeah, like the plot and the story were fucking like awful. They're not good.
So if the plot and the story was bad, were there any redeeming qualities or features in there to do with the characters or anything like that?
I really like the character design. Like, I actually thought the animation and the visuals were really nice overall for it. But it didn't really force you to care about the plot, which was good. It did kind of take itself pretty lightheartedly, and it's like, this is obviously a joke. This isn't serious. So that was good. I did like the animations, but there was one thing that I fucking hated about it. For some reason, when they were playing music, the 3 mainer characters, like eventually the band has 5 people, they put in this shitty CGI for no reason. All the characters were CGI on like a 2D background.
So we go from like normally in the show it would just be normal animation, and then we switch to CG for no reason.
And they go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth in the same scene.
Now you see, I don't mind that if the CG is trying to be integrated into the show. When you switch back and forth like that, oh man.
And then it gets even worse, because when they add the other 2 characters to the band, they don't bother giving them the CGI models or whatever that the other ones have. So there's 3 people that are really bad CG, and then there's 2 guys who are still 2D looking, and it's just, that was really, really bad. I don't know why they bothered to do that. They shouldn't have, because otherwise it would have been visually great. But then they threw that into scenes, and it was like, no, I'm not okay with this.
Let me get this straight. They thought it would be a good idea to switch back and forth from 2D to CG. I don't know if it's 2D or whatever, but they went from normal animation to CG. They switched that backwards and forwards. So instead of just integrating the CG into the show, which is what you should do really if you want to make it look good, try and integrate it into the show as in every episode. But not only that, they switched backwards and forwards, and then once they introduced 2 new characters, they didn't bother giving them CG models.
Yeah.
How stupid can you be?
I'll send you a fucking link to it after. I'll look for one, like showing it. Yeah.
I really do want to catch my eyes on that one.
Yeah.
I've never heard or ever seen that been done before.
It was really stupid, and there was no reason to do it, and I don't know. It was dumb. The music is pretty good in it, actually.
I've just remembered. Studio Dean were in charge of this one, weren't they?
Yeah.
No wonder it's so shit.
Yeah, I actually remember reading that when I was looking up earlier some stuff about it. They're like, yeah, we didn't have high hopes for it to begin with because Studio Dean's doing it. I don't know what else they've done. What, Dave?
Just for reference, I'll ask you and I'll ask the listeners as well. Have you ever seen the fight scenes from Fate Stay Night?
No.
They are really, really bad.
Are they half CG?
They're not half CG, but they are stunningly bad, I think would be a nice word to use. Because, like, it's really hype, like, you're fast-paced and it's explosive and really quick and what have you. And, like, the fighting in the air and stuff like that. And it's one guy with 2 blades and one guy with a spear. And when they're about to kick in, I'm sat there and I'm like, because I'd watched Fate Zero before this, so I'm like, oh, I've got high expectations for this motherfucker. So then I watch Lancer and Archer kick into this fight, and I can't even describe it so bad. All I will say is, like, I'll try and get it up on YouTube now, and I'll post a link in the description, but that's Studio Dean have done a really good job of butchering a lot of people's favorite. Like they've been adapting all of people's favorite things and doing a really bad job at it. And I can't wait for Fate Stay Night 2014 to start, because Studio fucking UFO Table are gonna prove to everybody how bad Studio Dean have fucked up. They're gonna be sat there just like, oh god, shit, people are gonna know how much we fucked that up. No. But anyway, yeah, Studio Dean, not a great animation studio by any. And do you know what the worst thing about this is? Do you know what show they've recently taken over the production for?
No.
It's probably gonna make you cry. Log Horizon. The facial form is priceless. I did mention that in Your Anime Weekly, which still hasn't been done yet. It will be eventually. Studio Satellite done a pretty good job of that, and now Studio Dean have upset a lot of people, and they're upsetting me right now. They upset me so much I've cut right across your review. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I was going to ask you to say more about that, because I had no idea what they'd done. What else have I got here? None of this is in order. I apologize for not properly doing any of this. I was drunk when I wrote all this out, so whatever. Oh yeah, the music. That's what I was going to say. The music I actually really liked. It was pretty enjoyable. My main complaint about it, though, is that there wasn't enough. They repeat the first same two, maybe even just one song for the first 6 episodes every time they play. They played the exact same song. They don't have new music. And same with when I started watching the second half today. I was like, oh, I do like this song. This is pretty good. It's all 5 of them playing together. And then they played it in the next episode. And then they played it in the next episode. And I tried to find the soundtrack. I didn't find it. I don't know if it's released. I didn't look very hard. But I found a YouTube video for it. It's only 28 minutes long for the entire soundtrack that they've got.
So that just goes to prove how little the music was utilized in that, considering the main focus of the show is an actual fucking rock band.
Which is really disappointing, because I enjoyed the music that they put in it. Even some of the really shitty pop kind of music. It was nice. I liked it.
Again, as I said when you're doing your initial impression on the show, I was like, I might not be interested in the show, but it does sound like I'd want to check out the soundtrack, because I am a big sucker for J-pop and J-rock. So
yeah, I sent you a couple songs, and it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Also, like I told you earlier, the OP for it is actually pretty bad. I don't like the OP at all, but the ED is pretty catchy, and I like that.
I listened to that before. Very, very catchy.
Yeah, so that was my main gripe with the music. What the fuck does that say? At the bottom here, it's barely readable, and it says, "Great drink show." Oh man. So
I actually do kind of want to copy off at the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast at some point, if we kind of do a drinking episode, because last night they brought out another podcast I'd highly recommend you all go check out. By the way, it's probably the best anime podcast out there. That and the Anime World Order podcast are probably the 2 best anime podcasts, apart from ours, of course. We're number 1. But they've done a drinking episode, and they deliberately go out and pick really, really bad shows, and then they come up with 2 rules for it. It's only when character says this, or when this happens in the show, and they've got to do a big swig of it. Best part, I hope we can get Nate to do it, because they have a host on that show called Chiaki, and she gets drunk after 1 beer.
I was just gonna say, Nate gets white girl wasted when he drinks.
Yeah, white girl wasted, as you said before. So if we can get Nate to do that, you're saying that Bakamatsu Rock would be a potential show we could watch an episode of and get drunk together with.
I enjoyed watching it. I'd be totally okay with watching it again if we were just getting heavily drunk while doing so. Because I need to be.
We could get drunk and then watch Fate Stay Night. That way it might be bearable to you guys, but then you just get me really angry, just they fucked up so many things. Yeah. Anyway, back about to Rock.
Oh, remember how I made another note about this? You know how earlier I pointed out that they went to the effort of setting it in an era and then said, yeah, you know what, fuck that technology? The villain's main weapon that's revealed in the last episode is speakers. To play Heaven's Song to brainwash the people, these massive speakers come out.
So, before then, how were people amplifying their music?
They don't say. People are just playing electrical instruments. There's a dude with a fucking keyboard, and then they're like,
Who
speakers,
is the writer?
What are these?
Who is the writer for this show? Because I'm gonna.
And now the other funny part was when they pull up the speakers to brainwash the people, and the music starts playing. The drummer reaches into his whatever he's wearing, pulls out this little thing, and is like, wee, and he's like, it's a reverse phase generator. We'll be safe.
Is this a sci-fi show as well?
No, he literally calls it a reverse phase generator as well, just to protect the band members so that they can go be heroes.
Reverse phase generator, activate!
Same with in one episode, I was telling Dave about earlier as well. Basically, the solution to everything was rock music. It's like, oh, this guy's clearly not all here and he's being possessed. Let's play rock and stop him. And then in like episode 9, the bass player like finds out that the villain of the thing is executing people or something, or just locking them up. I don't know, for listening to rock music. And so he stands up, and this has never been shown before, and he pulls out a gun. And it's like, where is this coming from? He just whipped out a gun. You guys were using rock music for the last 8 episodes to solve every problem, and now you're like, I'm gonna go shoot the bad guy.
Do you know what that reminds me of in a reverse way? Pokemon. Because I remember this one episode where Ash shows up at some kind of daycare center for Pokemon, and the guy points a fuck. And it was Butch and Cassidy, I think it was, and this guy just points a gun. And I was like, whoa, hang on a minute. Like, that was the episode where Ash's journey almost came to an end.
Actually, he did go and try and shoot the guy, but he got brainwashed and stuff. And like I was telling Dave, he had a great death scene. It wasn't really a death scene. It was just really dramatic.
Committed seppuku in the most epic way possible.
So in like this final fight scene type thing where all of the heroes are running to go fight the bad guy, and one by one they stop to hold off enemies so that the one final guy can get there by himself and, you know, be a hero. The bass player pulls out his gun again. And how he dies is he pulls out the gun, pulls a bullet out of the gun, pours gunpowder all over his bass, and plays his bass until it explodes. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. I wrote it in all capital letters at the bottom of this paper, like, oh, that was fucking awesome.
I've often wondered to myself, if I was put in the Fate Zero universe, which heroic spirit would I summon? I think I might pick that guy, because that would be one hell of a noble phantasm. If I can't win the Grail War, no fucker's winning the Grail War.
It doesn't even explain how they didn't die in the end. The main character's like, man, I'm sure gonna miss my friends. He's like, the guy just appears behind him. He's like, yeah, like hell you are. We aren't dead. And it's like, what? Okay.
And the whole fan base, and then the whole viewership was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I didn't even care if they were dead. The show wasn't that great. Okay.
All right, so I don't know who the writer was for this show, but I am finding out now that the director was Itsuro Kawasaki. You, sir, are fucking awful. You...
I don't know.
Why did you let this happen?
Like, it could have been worse. Like,
why is this a PG-13?
Exploding bases?
Exploding bases.
There was some blood. I don't...
And this got an average score of 6.28, and that was scored by 2,715 users out of 10, yeah.
That's generous.
It got favorited by 19 people! There are 19 people out there who think this was a good show.
I'm gonna bet that at least 17 of those were females. It had a decent amount of fan service. It was pretty funny. It didn't take itself seriously, so I'll give it that.
This guy was in charge of directing episodes on Ghost in the Shell, and I've been told that's a really good show.
Yeah, it was actually something I put on my list to watch.
Mirai Nikki as well. That would explain why that show got really batshit insane. And Pokemon Origin, and that was just awful. I'm going to stop reading this guy's page now. I'm getting building up.
I don't know. I think that like one of the reasons too why I liked it more than I really should have was 1, alcohol. 2, I didn't have any expectations going into it, because this, again, when we did the thing where everyone picked the anime to give to someone else, I don't know what to call it, you gave it to me and I was like, oh, this is probably going to be shit. I'm the only one who finished my anime. Fuck you guys.
Yeah. I barely even started. Wait, no, I'm going to say, what did we give Iru to watch?
Glass Slip.
Glass Slip. Did he watch that?
He watched the first bit of it because I was asking him about it, and it doesn't sound like it was actually that good.
Yeah, I think I got all the information I needed from it when I seen a post on A. There was this guy just in all caps, just like, we finally got to episode 13, and I still don't know what's happening.
I think I saw that same post.
Anyway, I don't care what's happened. Glass Slip general thread, and that's the last I've heard of it since then.
Yeah, because I kind of wanted to watch it. It looked like a cute little slice of life, and I kind of dig that, but nope. Okay, I'm gonna do the 3 hours on this thing. Okay. Oh, also, yeah, one thing I want to point out. I don't know what the fuck the target audience is supposed to be for this.
Yeah, like, you mentioned that before.
I spent, like, I think on the 9th episode, I was like, I'm gonna chalk it up for the cute boys doing things anime category, because
kind of like free.
That's not entirely right, but I don't know. Like, I just...
Judging by, I have only seen the ED, and that's about it.
Well,
but judging
I like
by
that to justify it.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe teenage girls, maybe between the ages of like 13, 16, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, other than that, from what you're describing...
It has a bathhouse scene of full men. Oh, yeah. And the conclusion of that episode is, we have to play naked. That is how we summon the passion of rock.
I remember you telling me about that. Like,
I remember I was losing my shit over it in the Skype call when I was watching it. I was really drunk, and I was like, guys, you would not believe what is fucking happening right now. Oh, and the one guy wouldn't go into the bathhouse with them. I'm getting off track again, but whatever. And they were like, oh, maybe he's afraid to be naked with us. And they spend the whole episode puzzling over it. They're like, it's okay, dude. We understand. And then he like drops his trousers and it's like, there's a sound of an elephant. And I was just like, I can't deal with this right now. This is fucking retarded.
That's a really good euphemism.
So yeah, 3 hours.
But before you do the 3 hours, I just want to say I have to agree with the guy. Rock music is enjoyed better whilst naked.
Okay, so out of 10, this changed multiple times. Initially, I was thinking, I'll just give it a 6. It's not terrible. Got a little further in, I was like, it's pretty fucking terrible, actually. And then by the end of the last episode, I was sitting at a 5, and I was like, it's only sitting at a 5 because I'm really drunk right now. So I'm giving it a 4 to 10, which is the same as Tokyo Ghoul. And I probably enjoyed it more than Tokyo Ghoul, but it's just not that good. Recommend. You've heard what I've said about it. You could make your own opinion on that.
I'm going to throw something on top of that as well. It was animated by Studio Dean. Bear that in mind.
And rewatch. Not anytime soon.
Nah, lad.
I'm probably never going to just sit down and be like, yeah, I want to rewatch Bakumatsu Rock. That shit was good.
It pretty much wraps that one
yeah,
up.
I think
then.
so.
I don't believe that, man. That show was just...
It could have been worse.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, my mother. Oh, you can talk if you want. No, you can. Everyone can hear us. No, I don't want any food, thank you, Mum. I will when I've done the podcast.
Bye.
Bye. Would you mind shutting the door, please? Thank you. Anyway.
Alright, so we spent like half an hour of this podcast discussing shows Dave and I didn't particularly care for. So now we're gonna do an actual, well, I think it's good.
I'm still not made up on this one. I really have to be honest. I can't decide whether I like it or not.
I rewatched most of it today, actually. Like, I sat and went through all the episodes, so it's kind of clicked through just to watch bits, and I like it even more now.
The show in question will be Zankyou no Terror. The show in which I said, what was it? When we were doing our midway point impressions, I said this would be duking it out with Al Noah.
Yeah.
For anime of the season.
I thought Tokyo Ghoul was.
We all did, Cassie. We all did. Well, that's just such a bitter taste in my mouth, wasn't it? But this one did as well. Because the more I thought about it, the more I thought, no, I don't like that last episode. In fact, I really disliked that last episode.
See, and I liked a lot of things about it. There are obvious faults. Like,
such as like the whole middle section of the show.
Yes, that was where like it really redeemed itself compared to like, how Tokyo Ghoul kind of fell off and then never came back up. Whereas for me, Zankyou no Terror fell off and came right back up. Like that Ferris wheel scene episode, I was just like, holy fuck. I'm sorry, I doubted you.
I kind of want to. What was the quote that I said to you? Did I type it down somewhere?
Oh, it was like that girlfriend that cheated on you and then you got back together, but it was never quite the same.
Yeah. It's here's the exact quote. I'm going to use this quote. This is how I've typed up my notes. I'm going to use this quote I used several times in my conversation with Valk about this one. Anyone who listened to episode 9 episode 9 of the Anime Bro podcast, that is, heard me say that I fell in love with this show. And it's true. I completely fell in love with this show. I fell for it big time. Yeah. We got into a serious relationship. And then 5 episodes happened and I found out she's cheating on me. But I forgave her. And we carried on right up until the end, but the relationship was just never the same again. And that's honestly how I feel with the show. I don't think once it dipped, it carried on dipping. It didn't carry on dipping, it evened out, but it never came back up again. The Ferris wheel scene that you mentioned then was good. But
I thought it was better than the bike scene.
They weren't playing that. They weren't playing NC-17 during the Ferris wheel scene, so that's why I like the bike scene only worked for me because of the music playing in the background as well.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like with the show, music was so. It is my favorite soundtrack this season. I've decided that because like Aldo Zero, like I really like some of the songs on it. I think that's kind of like how you feel about Zankyou no Terror. There's a couple songs that I really like, and then I don't care about the other ones.
You're wrong, but it's your opinion.
Oh, are we doing this? Send the episode right here. All right. And also
let's do it.
The explosion scene was really fucking nice.
Yeah. Overall, I mean. We've already done a description about this as well. I think it would just eat too much time if we just got a description up for it and gave you the synopsis for it. So if you wish to, you can go ahead and get the plot up yourself. It's basically a show about 2 terrorists in Japan. And they set a couple of bombs off, and we basically follow their reasonings behind why they're doing it. And then we've got some side characters as well, like the Shibazaki, the police officer, who's pretty much put himself in charge of trying to find out where they are.
He was great.
And
also,
I like Shibazaki. I thought he was a good character.
him, though, too.
Yeah, they did target him. that was only explained why
in the last
final episode.
Yeah.
Though. We'll go all over the place with this one.
Yeah.
We'll dart from visuals to music to animation, and then go back to characters, and then
That's what I said this would probably be. Is we're probably just going to shoot shit back and forth and talk about it, because yeah, I really liked it, and I'm kind of biased towards liking it, and you are very blunt about disliking so many things.
Yeah.
And yeah.
For example, I think the ending, more specifically the justification of why they done it, I thought that was complete bullshit. But I also took your points on it as well. Mm-hmm. Like, if it's explained during the show that they went to some kind of an institution, and the reasoning behind that institution was to try and breed Japan's next greatest generation.
And they were basically pumped full of drugs and
superhuman. So on that note, you can't really be too surprised they went batshit insane and tried to do something like this. But
something flashy, like you're incredibly smart, and you've had so many years. Like, you've sat and you've probably thought about this. Like, the two of them escaped, basically. That's not really spoiler. And yeah, it's like, what are you gonna do in all those years?
That's not really a spoiler, because they're here now on the outside, so I mean, it's pretty obvious that they got out somehow. Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't take and plus there are several flashbacks where you see those two guys trying to climb over a fence. So,
I loved those flashback scenes. Like, I loved all of the animation, but those flashback scenes with, like, the really loud music, they felt impactful, and I really liked them. That's
another reason why I didn't like the soundtrack, because at times, as I've stated before, like with a soundtrack, like if it's going to be mediocre, or if it's which I do consider it mediocre, I don't mind that it's mediocre, provided it's just in the background and it doesn't detract away from the scenes in any way, shape, or form.
Those scenes were supposed to be impactful.
They were supposed to be impactful, but the reason why I didn't like them that much was because they turned the music up far too loud.
Oh, see, that's why I liked them. I thought that was great. I was like, holy shit, like
that just comes down to personal preference, really. I'm not criticizing it just because I think, no, this should not be done this way. This is not how it's meant to work. But that is just down to personal preference on that one. So I mentioned the ending there. I thought the justification was bullshit. I thought that ending in general was pretty bullshit as well. I can't spoil it, but all I will say is bang. You and I both know what we're talking about here, and the order in which those bangs happened.
But I can't spoil it, like.
Because you sent me that video now, I've watched that last scene back.
I'm so upset that I've seen that, because it ruins it so hard for me when I rewatched the episode today. And all of a sudden, like, the scene's happening and I'm getting feels, and then America, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And I was like, oh. And same with watching that video when it cuts to the scene at the end and it goes back to, like, the actual soundtrack, and it's like, I'm like laughing, and then I was like, and then at the very end, oh god. But yeah, that was kind of dumb, but I know why they did it.
I don't know. I think the writing on the show, it wasn't exactly great. There's so many things in the writing or in the story of the show. Trying to figure out what the best way to say it is. Like the writing in the show seems like whoever the writer was changed his mind far too often. Sometimes, like for example, we've discussed this before about 12 in the beginning. In the first 3 episodes, he comes across as a bit of a lunatic, a psychopath. He's got a couple of
like I really liked that character. Like the first 3 episodes or so, and like. It's not really spoilers in the first 3 episodes. Like they basically tell Lisa she's an accomplice, and there's that one scene where she's following him, and he turns around and says, "If you do anything wrong, we'll kill you." And it's like I loved that 12. It was like, wow, this guy's fucking nuts. And same within the OP, like that one face that's got like 9 scenes on the screen that he makes.
What? What?
It's in the OP. It's the face that he makes, and he looks fucking insane. Right here. Look at that. It did come up on Google image.
Okay.
I've watched this OP so many times. I love it. That image. Like
I actually think Gross like that OP.
He looks nuts.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. He does. He looks crazy.
Yeah, like
and a little bit like a frog, but
like I assumed he was actually kind of nuts, and they kind of throw that out the window. But I also think they justify that in the end. Like I got over that with the last episode.
I think the ending kind of trying to figure out what the best way to put this is. It's like they needed to find a justification to have a reason why Lisa was kept around in that group for so long. So they thought, hang on a sec, we could turn this into a sort of maybe a love angle of some kind.
But it also makes sense.
I think if you intended 12 to be this crazy guy, then why wouldn't you make 9 the guy who's more sympathetic towards Lisa?
Because 9 is the stoic glasses guy. Like that's what
but make him a typical tsundere then. Like it's not like I actually want to protect you.
But that's kind of what he did come off as. Like you saw him interacting with Lisa in like the last few scenes.
Why did they balls it up with 12 then in that case? Why didn't they just keep him
12 was more emotive.
12 was more emotive?
Yeah.
Emotive for what?
Just emotional in general. Like Yeah. Did I use the word right?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, like he was. That made sense.
I kind of get where you're coming from, yeah.
No, I felt it was it wasn't justified perfectly, and it wasn't like, oh, it all makes sense now, but it was, okay, I can keep on liking you. Also, speaking of things that existed for no reason, 5.
Yeah, that was the very small notes that I made about this. I think I've got the line is here. Why is 5 here? What is her purpose of being in the show?
I think...
Why can't we just have more character development?
Okay.
Why can't they blow more things up, essentially? I want more explosions. More action!
The reason...
Now!
Let's be serious here. The reason we all dislike 5 so much is airport chess.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I remember after that episode aired, we were all talking about it, and we were like, what the fuck was that? Why is this happening? This show was going to be good.
Kind of like the shows like knocking on the door going, hello, hey guys, have you ever seen that show Death Note before? guys, Death Note, have you ever heard that before?
The producers were making the episode and they were like, I'm out of ideas, guys. Oh, I just saw this great show.
Oh, I watched this great show last night called Death Note, and then they all sat around, had a powwow, watched like the first 3 minutes and just went, yeah, we could fit this in here. And then again, the show was like, hello, Death Note, have you ever seen that show before? That's what we're trying to do here. Yeah. It's so horribly obvious. And
even after that, like, I felt like 5 was only a plot device. She was there to make things happen, and she didn't do anything else. Nothing she did was properly explained.
Nothing. I can't answer that furthermore. You've got absolutely spot on. The 0 points for being there.
It's like, she made...
Except for the really bad English. Send all cameras to check
You're kidding.
You're kidding. Sounds like she's speaking with a bottom jaw pushed out the entire time.
I don't know. I'm actually kind of okay with that. They used the actual like voice actor and shit for it. It was okay. Free had better English.
I'm thinking to myself, like, really, I'm sure there are hundreds of native English-speaking people who live in Japan right now who could go to the studio for free on their own expense just to say, oh, do you remember that part in Zanki no Terror where 5 spoke English? That was me who done that. There's so many people you could have took advantage over there to make that scene a little more.
No, I actually really grew to like it. It was really fucking bad, and I was like laughing my ass off the first time. But like, I like that they did that.
This isn't a show you're supposed to laugh at, though. That's
really.
Yes, really. You're not supposed to laugh at.
But yeah, again, without 5, like all of the shit wouldn't have happened. Like she made the development between 12 and Lisa happen. She gave us the Ferris wheel scene.
Yeah, that's okay. And on that note, we can talk a little bit more about the visuals and stuff like that. The 2 scenes that we mentioned. Again, you could go back to episode 9 of the Anime Bro podcast where I said I watched this scene where 12 comes and rescues Lisa on a motorbike, and then they just bail it right down the highway.
It's so beautiful.
Oh my god, I've seen nothing like it before. It's one of the best looking things. Like, it's up there with like Fate Zero in terms of things that have just blown me away with how good they look.
And then she's just
god.
like, "Are you gonna destroy the world?" And it's just
and the dialogue as well. The dialogue
so
and the music all just melted perfectly into one fantastic orgasmic thing just to look at. And again, the Ferris wheel as well with the soundtrack, and then on top of that, what's happening in the Ferris wheel as well. Yeah. The heights, the drama, the tension right up until the last second. You think something's going to happen. And then there's a bit of a U-turn, and then that's the point where you go, oh, you're a dick.
See, like I was just like, man, 12.
You're a dick, but
seriously,
you're a dick, but I would have done the same thing. I think I would have done the same
exactly.
thing.
Like, that's what I mean. It's like, man, you're such a shitty
12 did nothing wrong.
Slane did nothing wrong.
Slane did everything wrong. I hate that guy.
Okay, wait, what have I got here for notes? Oh, I want to say that Shibazaki was a great character, and I wish we had more of him.
Shibazaki was a great character.
To be honest,
I loved his voice actor as well.
I really, really liked him, and he was he was a pretty main character, and he was really important. But I still wanted more of him.
Yeah, again, if 5 wasn't there, we probably would have got more of him.
Yeah, same with even more so than Shibazaki.
But then again, if 5 wasn't there, that would have felt more like Death Note anyway. Yeah. Because again, as I described that, we've got Light Yagami is 9, and then we've got Shibazaki is L. Yeah. And then of course we've got 12
I feel like
Misa.
They could have maybe, if they put more thought into it, I don't know, maybe not. Like, I could be totally wrong, but like they probably could have done, like, that's what I kind of wanted, was a battle between the terrorists and that one detective. Like, I thought, like, they could have made it. It didn't have to be Death Note. It could have been unique. Yeah. They probably could have figured something out, but like...
And it still could have led to the ending that we got, where instead of in Death Notes, we had people dying in that way, in that sense, in some kind of a confrontation. They could have sort of came to an understanding at the end, like, sort of what happened in the end, but not sort of what happened in the end.
Even better, they could have just made 5 better, and made 5 not shit, and actually made her reasonings for anything make sense.
I'm going to spoil this straight up now because I think it's fucking awful. So if you haven't watched it,
that'll make everything easier.
Skip ahead a few seconds. But Jesus fucking Christ, I did this because you were better than me the entire time, and I wanted to be better than you.
Beaten you.
Now I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah. There was no reason for that.
And then she said, like, oh, I've beaten you now. I was like, no, you haven't. Pull the fucking trigger, then you've beat him.
I know. I fully expected her to fucking shoot him, and I was like, also, that fucking detective that was with her that she killed, did she not actually kill him? He was in the last scene.
Yeah, I thought he was dead. I should mention as well, his English was actually really good.
I actually liked it. Yeah, his was good too.
Yeah, his English was pretty good. Yeah.
But like that.
Shout out to that voice actor.
That is why 5 frustrated me so much. It's because it was like she was there for whatever she was like making happen, and then she was just gone. And it was like, wow, if they'd actually made her character better.
Wasting my time.
Yeah, they should have made her character better. That maybe if the series were longer or something, and they could have if they could show more of them in the institution and give me more on 9 and 5.
As I said, I think in a few months' time, this is going to become our next Angel Beats discussion, where like it's a conversation you and I have all the time, where we say like Angel Beats was great the way that we watched it. We all love Angel Beats, but we've made that perfectly fucking clear to anyone who's listening to this podcast.
Really loves Angel Beats.
But like every time we say there's so much more that we could have. Can we give it? Can we do a reboot? Can we give it 12 more episodes? Can we just drag this out a little bit longer, because then we can get more out of it that we want. Yeah. I feel like that would thank Tara. I like it a lot less than what you do, but at the same time, I still think the same as you. If we'd have got 24 episodes, that could possibly have. And if we'd have changed the ending is paramount to me. And if we could have changed that in ways I would have liked to have had it, like
I like I'm not what happened. Say what, but I want better reasons for that to happen.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about the ending.
I just said that. I think you hit the nail on the head, absolutely spot on there. If we would have gotten more flashback scenes toward in the institution,
I want more institution
then
scenes.
we could have known why. What exactly was 9 better than 12? For example, if I'd have seen that, if I'd have seen 5's nose being pushed into the dirt all the time, maybe then I could have been a little bit more sympathetic towards the end.
I wanted reasons to care about her, and I just didn't. It was like, you're being a bitch for no reason. Also, we haven't talked about Lisa yet. We should talk about Lisa.
I don't really know what to say about Lisa. She waifu material for sure. I think no, I'm joking. No, I really like her character design, which is another way of saying I think she's a good-looking character, which I don't like to say often in public, if anything at all. I hope my mum can't hear me right now, but I think she's a good-looking character, and I really like her voice actress. I think she's done a fantastic job. She's absolutely knocked it out the park. But in our personal discussions as well, I think you absolutely got it spot on. Why did they just turn her into typical moe blob?
Yeah, that was.
For those like 3 or 4 episodes right in the middle when
yes, that's
she basically.
What I was going to touch on.
it was kind of like reminded me of Infinite Stratos in a way, like the way how one character can go from being someone who's independent to becoming completely reliant.
No, she was always useless.
On these other people.
Like she was never good at anything.
No, but she then attached herself to the first person with a penis, which is kind of what happened in Infinite Stratos. I was just trying to make a real.
I don't know. I feel like it was just more of a friendship thing. Well, at first, but my problem with her was that she was really obviously a useless character. 12 attached to her for some reason. It was kind of building up to it. Like when I rewatched it today, it kind of made me make the situation more. I don't know, because they do have a lot of discussions leading up 12 and 9. He's like, I'm not going to care about her. It'll be harder later on, foreshadowing and all that bullshit. Yeah. And then he goes and saves her on the bike, and the bike scene's great. Like all their scenes are great. I understand that she is useless, but they did not have to make her retarded. That one episode. I think she's adorable, most of the time. I'm going to bring up that conversation we had yesterday where I said, you know what would have made Tara great? If it were just a slice of life about 2 terrorists living with Lisa and bullying her for 12 episodes. Because those scenes were so good. Like, when she, fainted because 12 was like, boom! Or bang, or whatever it was, and,
She randomly showed up in the library with a glass of a cup of Coke, I assume, and then
and he puts,
12 just goes up and drops some Mentos in it. It's like
I loved that. Yeah, all of that was great. But yeah, the episode where one.
So I would like to retract my statement where I said you're not supposed to laugh at this show. there are points where you are supposed to.
It was the episode where first off, she was putting Pocky in curry. I don't care that you can put chocolate in curry. Pocky is not chocolate, and I am so adamant about this, and it pisses me off.
Wait, no. Maybe we didn't get to see, because of spoilers, we didn't get to see the finished product of the curry, but what if she were to pull the bread out of the curry once the chocolate had melted off it, did you not
Then she
consider
would have
that?
taken the biscuit, dipped it in, let it melt because it would take like 3 fucking seconds, and pulled the biscuit. You saw her cook earlier. She took a ham, a whole ham.
Well, there we go then. She can't cook properly, so maybe she didn't know that that's the right
Oh,
way
I
to
know
do it.
she can't cook properly.
Maybe the curry wasn't hot enough to melt the chocolate yet, so she just went, okay, I can dip the pocky in there, fish the breadsticks out later. In the meantime, I've got a washing machine to go and break.
Did you see the scene though before that where she made the bad cooking and she took an entire ham and just put it in a frying pan?
Yep. Genius.
Also, the fucking curry had an entire tomato floating in it. I have this scene embedded in my mind because I was so frustrated when I was watching it. And then, mail? For me, I've lived here for about a week. People would definitely know this address. I'd better open this box.
I'd imagine that would frustrate you even more because you do like to cook yourself, don't you?
I'm a terrible cook.
Oh, I'll join the club.
I got food poisoning from ramen. No joke.
Wow, not even I've managed that. Well done.
It was expired. Did you know ramen can expire? I didn't.
Ramen can expire?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, if there's ever an apocalypse and I'm left on my own, there goes all my plans out the fucking window.
No, I'm a bad cook. I'm a terrible cook. But yeah, and then,
So wait. If you do come over to England next year, then who the fuck's going to be our chef? Because I know Stu can't cook. I definitely can't cook. Right, okay. But we might die in a Are you going to make us a chocolate curry, Cassie?
No.
Oh.
You said you don't like curry, so.
Good, because curry is shit.
Wait, what was I saying? Oh, right. I said it was really funny. I actually liked the scene after when she was done. Well, she was still being retarded. And spoiler alert: the package was a bomb.
Did she stop being retarded at any point?
But, like, the package was a bomb. And the scene with her running out of the apartment, holding a ladle, as 9 and 12 came up, as like the apartment blew up, that fucking killed me because I was like, they're coming up, and Lisa's running out of the apartment with a ladle. And then the apartment explodes. They're like, what the fuck was she trying to cook? That scene, I actually really, really liked that because I can only imagine what were they thinking?
I wonder if battery acid goes nice with curry and ham.
Yeah, like I really, really liked that. But yeah, I think I did like Lisa overall. It's just that one episode, I just got really irritated.
She had her moments. My favourite moments again for me was the Ferris wheel scene and then the bike scene again. Those were easily the 2 highlights for me. Apart from Shibazaki and 12. Not sure if there was many more characters that I did like.
9 needed more development.
Not to say that there was a ton of them.
9 needed more development beyond.
9 definitely needed more
PTSD,
development.
my head hurts.
I've seen some shit, man. I've been to Vietnam.
Yeah, like if he had more development, like I actually thought he was gonna be the character that I liked more, but nah. 12 was definitely more relatable.
So on that note, shall we give it the 3 hours and wrap this up?
All right. Okay.
Or if we got more to talk about?
I don't know about that. Probably not. Nah, everything else would have to involve spoilers, and don't need to bother with that.
Well, we've been over that a million times before, and we will go over it a million times again. I'll go first. I couldn't really settle on a score for this one.
I still haven't.
I'm going to rate this a 6 out of 10. I think the visuals are stunning. Some of the characters, like the good characters who were in there, were fantastic. The music was okay, but the ending was really bad, in my opinion. I hated the ending. The whole middle section of it was a huge disappointment. I don't think the writing was entirely good or great on this, and I think there was a number of times where the writer changed his mind for reasons unexplained at the worst possible moments. So that's why I give it a 6 out of 10. Recommend it?
You better fucking recommend it. Okay.
I would. I'm going to recommend it, but I can't really give any reasons why. I just think it's a really, really good looking show. I think, was it Studio Mappa? Yeah, I think it was Studio Mappa. Studio Mappa done a damn good job on this show, and as I say, it is one of the best looking shows I've seen, but
wasn't it Watanabe or whatever the fuck people were shitting themselves over because Cowboy Bebop?
Oh, Watanabe, he's the director.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay.
So yeah, that's another thing as well. This is a Watanabe show, so a lot of people went into this expecting amazing things. Because like that guy, he done Samurai Champloo, Cowboy Bebop, Kids on the Slope, and Space Dandy.
Yeah, Space Dandy is one of the things. It was all these things that I'd heard of, but I never watched. I was like, I don't know, going into it blind. And
then again, we've got Yoko Kanno, who's pretty much done every soundtrack for every show that Watanabe's done, and she's gotten high praise before. So I haven't seen Bebop. I haven't seen Space Dandy. I've watched Samurai Champloo. I didn't think too much of it, but at the same time, because of all the hype behind Watanabe and how much of a great director he's supposed to be, I did go into this expecting something, and it delivered in the first 4 episodes. And I again fell in love with the show.
But then this season.
What?
Tokyo.
We don't talk about that show on this podcast anymore.
Oh.
But But yeah, I'll recommend it, and it probably wasn't a good idea for me to for the people who are clueless for me to mention Watanabe's name, because there is a certain pedigree when it comes to his shows. And go into the show, but please do your best to expect nothing, because I think you'll enjoy it more. If you go into it expecting the next Bebop, you are not going to get the next Bebop. No chance. Yep. Personal note: if you're expecting to go into this to hear Yoko Kanno's greatest work, you are not going to get Yoko Kanno's greatest work.
Soundtrack was fucking phenomenal.
I get personal preference.
This is definitely personal preferences. That soundtrack was amazing, and I fucking love it.
As hard as those questions were for me, is the hardest one. Would I rewatch it? Because I kind of want to. Because I feel like I've missed something. Or
rewatching it made it better for me.
But then
Although
again,
I didn't technically rewatch it. I went through every episode and I kind of clicked through, watched main scenes, and in earlier episodes they talk about music from a cold land, and I was like, oh okay, and just little things like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch this sometime, because I was thinking there's so many people who enjoyed it and I just didn't get the same out of it, and I don't know why. But then again, I go on A, which isn't a good idea, by the way. But you go on A, but the people who didn't like it had genuine reasons. Didn't you get the last episode spoiled
for you too, because you went on A like a retard the day it was released?
Yeah. No, it was on the same day it got released, and I was getting ready to watch it at some point during the day, but I think was I drinking that night? Probably. If it was a day that ended in a Y, there's a good chance I would have been fucking drinking on it. So yeah, I went on A for whatever reason. Because everything had finished. It's like I'd seen Tokyo Ghoul, I'd watched Ao Haru Ride, I'd finished Al No Zero. In my mind somewhere it was just went, oh, we're done for this season then. We can go on A and be happy. And then I went on A and it just got. It was something about
you
a bomb.
Also didn't like episode 10. Like I remember we were talking about it. Like you'd watched it, I was about to watch it, and you didn't really care for it at all. Like it was basically the point where you were like, yeah, like this anime isn't doing it for me.
Yeah, what happened in episode 10? I'm just saying, I remember you saying
everything,
that. Oh yeah.
You know what? There was a bomb. I can say that it's an anime about terrorists.
Yeah. At that point, I was just like, I'd waited this long for it to try and come back, and then I thought there's one episode left. It would have to pull some fucking, I don't know, some Code Geass season 2 level plot twist right at the end for this to be good, and it didn't happen. In fact, it got even worse from that point on, I'd say. So yeah, those would be my final 3 hours that show. Cassie, argue with me.
So, I am terrible at rating things. Honestly, if you want to know what I think of something, listen to me talk about it, because like most things, when I was rating it, I think I should give it a 7 out of 10. But I'm going to give it an 8 because I really, really liked it. Like, honestly, I did. Like, there are so many faults. I point a lot of them out. Some of them I get over. Dave doesn't. You kind of got both of our sides on that. So yeah, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. And I think it was my favorite anime this season because...
Okay, it's your opinion.
Yeah, like nothing...
You're wrong, but it's your opinion.
Well, no, like every week. Like, this is the actually first anime season I've ever actually sat and watched things week to week. Remember how I said I couldn't do that, and I absolutely hated doing that?
Yeah.
So this is the first time I've ever done that.
And just to think, Autumn's going to be even better.
I know, Log Horizon.
Autumn is going to shit all over. Yeah. There's Seikaiju, Fate Stay Night, Psychopaths, Log Horizon.
I have to watch
like 5 of the shows
before that happens, actually. But yeah, Zaki no Terror was the one thing every week. It is what I looked the most forward to. Because Tokyo Ghoul, I stopped caring about. I think I picked it up 3 episodes in, so I watched the first 3 episodes.
At this point, I want to take the opportunity. What's going to happen next is this episode is going to split for a minute, because what's going to happen is I'm going to play you a clip of me watching Al No Zero.
Yes.
Episode 12. So minor spoilers. I'm just going to show you the part when shit finally goes down, and you're about to see how fucking excited I got over that.
Just put a link that skips back to the podcast.
Oh, it's like the Power Rangers! Oh my god! Oh, what? What's he doing? Oh god, it is like the Power Rangers! The Megazord is coming! And he's got a bitchin' pair of shoes!
In the video, if you know how to do that.
No, I can actually just cut the video and then cut in the video because I recorded because I promised Cassie I would, and I still haven't showed it to her. I'm still like I got really drunk, came back from a friend's house, and as Al No Zero was, I'll tell the truth. I was downloading it. As it was downloading, I was pacing around my room, walking around in circles with a can of Strongbow behind, just going, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!"
As a side note, that's because earlier in the evening, Dave hadn't seen it yet, and I assumed Dave had watched it. So I watched the last episode of Al Zero. I am losing my absolute shit. No one else has seen it. I am sending Dave messages on every form of media available, going, Dave, where the fuck are you? Dave, 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 Dave. And he finally responds and says, I can't watch it right now.
I was babysitting for a friend. There's nothing I could do. I was like, oh, this is terrible.
But yeah.
So, Cassie, would you recommend this to people?
Yes. 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 Yes, most beautiful anime I've seen. I don't have a huge, library of anime that I've seen, but holy shit, it's so fucking pretty. Also,
it is
the only anime
gorgeous.
this season that gave me any kind of feels, so I'm giving it points for that.
Actually, did I get feels? Or I was just kind of in shock at the end of Alto Zero. I was just like, what is going on?
I didn't really get feels from Alto Zero because I liked what it did, but I was also like, when the first thing happened, that was when I started sending messages over everything, and then the second thing happened, and I was like, yeah, I guess they can't see me waving my arms around, but
do you know what? I might as well just send you the link to it. Just bear in mind I was really drunk, but my reaction to that part was just, what?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And then I was in stunned silence for the rest of the episode.
I was also like, Dave, I was I had this dream earlier. I fucking told Dave about this. I'm psychic. And I was also like, why did that happen? Why did that happen? And I'm also really okay with it because
I was like, oh, Selene done nothing wrong. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that.
We should just make a spoiler episode where we rant about Zanky no Terror and Alto Zero and all of the spoilers that they involve, and it's all the shit that we wanted to talk about, but we were like, yeah, we couldn't.
That's definitely something we could slate in for the future. I could show for a couple more hours.
Has anyone else fucking watched these shows?
No, because they all picked the really bad shows to watch. Like the next episode, Sword Art Online 2, Persona 4, I don't know what Persona 4 Golden's like, and then maybe Akame ga Kill. Again, it's like, oh, what the... Why did you people pick those shows to watch? I want to know what else Ty's been watching, man. He needs to just...
Ty watches a lot of things.
Ty's been watching All Noah.
Okay.
Right, so anyway, on that note, we've been running for well,
it's been a while.
In case we run short of time, I can always review The Devil's Part-Timer. He says at 1 hour and 13 minutes. Wow, I've got some editing to do ahead of me.
Oh man, we did a 2-minute podcast and it was great.
It was. Cassie, fantastic conversation. Thank you very much for joining me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to the Anime Bro podcast. As ever, if you want to listen to us, you can do so by hitting the subscribe button. You might be hearing this on iTunes, but we're mainly based on YouTube, so if you want to come and watch, completely forgot what our other shows are. We have other shows. I do a weekly news segment called Your Anime Weekly. We've got another podcast, which is roughly the same time frame, but way more casual and much more off topic.
We mostly just record ourselves having conversations.
Yeah. That's called Reanimate, and then of course we have Ego has his own show. You guys probably don't know who he is because he's not been on the show for ever. But he's got his own show. That's called Ego Vidals and Egos. Oh yeah, he was.
Honestly, if we hadn't done this one, I was actually going to do a solo podcast and just talk about Zanky no Terror because of how much I liked it. And I was also going to do a proper review for free, but now I don't have to worry about that.
I'm glad I could help you get all that off your chest. So if you are listening to this on iTunes, you can find us over on YouTube. Just search for the Anime Bro podcast. If you're listening to this on YouTube, you can hear us on iTunes. Just search for the Anime Bro podcast. So you've been joined by myself. You've been joined by Valk.
Hey.
Hey. And I'll be seeing you.